So welcome back to the second draft. It is week 17, and we're talking about how really all we wanted for Christmas was better NFL officiating, and we keep trying to figure out why the Patriots keep getting wins on replay. So
welcome back.
Unbelievable.
Welcome back.
Welcome back to the second draft.
That K-Ben touchdown.
Kelvin Benjamin, for those of you who are not aware or are not familiar with football and all of its many player nicknames.
Yeah. The Bills got robbed.
They absolutely did.
That was a touchdown, and I'll give credit where credit's due. The field officials made the right decision, made the right call, and then some idiot in the home office for the NFL doing the replays, named Alberto Riverin. I think that's how you say it.
Public enemy number one.
Yeah, dude, somebody needs to fire that man. Patriots have had like 4 wins on something like that. It's kind of gross.
Yeah.
So how do you solve the box review problem? Because
the box review was supposed to fix the problem, and it's just even more problems.
Yeah, because I don't know. My thought is you create a group of people that are well-trusted, former officials, maybe just football aficionados, people who pass the test. You get like 10 of them that go to every game, and if there's a call that needs to be made, they all individually review and then cast their vote. I don't know. That's like a really convoluted way to solve the problem, but we've been seeing this crop up so many times.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's right for just one guy to be the determining factor.
The terminating factor.
Yeah.
Literally.
I mean, because the Steelers, I still think the Steelers got screwed.
I think they did too. It's weird for me to say because I'm not a huge fan of the Steelers. The Steelers have been absolutely hosed this season by officiating multiple times.
Yeah.
And this was no exception. It was horrific what happened with the Steelers.
Yeah, that was a massively impactful game.
Yes.
For the AFC.
Yeah.
So that decision single-handedly changed the course of
the playoffs.
Yeah.
For one, which is totally effed up.
Yeah, they both have first-round buys, so that that part's not affected, but seeding and and home field advantage. If they face off against each other in the AFC Championship, right? So
so there was that situation with the Patriots and the Steelers. There was a situation with Kelvin Benjamin, which was a touchdown. He had control of the ball. He had both feet in. It should have been a touchdown. They said it was a touchdown. Then they reviewed it in New York and said it wasn't a touchdown. There was a situation with DeAndre Hopkins for the Texans, too, which is a source of contention because what they aired on TV showed him coming down. First of all, he was committing pass interference in the first place, which it should have been brought back anyway because he was using the other guy's sleeve as leverage to pull himself up and grab the ball with one hand. Right then, it should have been discounted. But from the angle they showed on TV, it looked like he came down with one foot, landed on the cornerback, rolled off the cornerback, and out of bounds. So a lot of people thought it should have been a touchdown. I was of the mind it should have been a touchdown. It wasn't until much later when I found out on like Reddit and Twitter after the fact that he'd actually gotten both feet in one at a time, then hit the cornerback, and then rolled over. But I don't know. It was still pass interference, and it should have been a touchdown regardless.
Yeah, and the replay guy's explanation was that Benjamin only had 1 foot down when he gained control, which doesn't like.
So, is this a production? Is this a booth situation where they show the clip as his second foot lands, and then they say, "Oh, that's 1 foot"? Because I think it's conceivable that they only get like a 5-second clip of the important part, and I don't know how it works, to be honest. Maybe they do get the full play.
So in Canton, they have this really nifty thing at the Hall of Fame, Pro Football Hall of Fame, where you can go and actually see exactly what the refs see. So you see the play. You see the full play.
Mm-hmm.
And it gives you the ability to like slow it down.
Yeah.
And go frame by frame. So, and I think they've done that like the NFL experiences at Super Bowls.
That's what I was just going to say, yeah.
So they have the ability to see, and that you can see it from multiple angles. Like the replay system is actually really impressive. I'm not really upset with the technology. I'm more frustrated by
it's the misuse of the technology,
right? And in the Kelvin Benjamin situation, and this is, we get into kind of legalese, and clearly I think the rules are written by people with legal training because there is some gray area,
sure,
right? And control of the ball can be hazy. But it needs to be clear proof that the call on the field was incorrect to overturn it.
I think,
and their definition of clear is not clear at all.
So you think they need some kind of innocent until proven guilty, like it's a positive outcome for the offensive team until otherwise proven?
I think you go with the call on the field unless you can convincingly overturn it. And because what they're starting to do now is, it seems like kind of rule by fiat. Like the guy in heading up the replay, that guy's like the supreme potentate, and that's not okay.
No.
So, and there was no clear and obvious evidence that was not a touchdown.
So here's what you do. You get all the press off the field. You get all the players off the field. You still maintain out of bounds and a fair distance between the out of bounds line and the edge, outside edge. Put the entire team in boxes like in hockey, and then you surround the entire field with cameras. So every time there's a review, you've got like a 360 fucking matrix set up where you can look at the entire play 360 degrees, because the league's got the power to buy all those cameras for every arena or stadium. They've got the ability to process all those cameras all at once. They've got the money to do it, so just go full on and just do something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, if they're stingy about it, if you want to be frugal, stick some 360 cameras on the top of the pylons. It's not going to mess anything up.
Sure, that too. I remember when the pylon cameras was such a huge revolutionary thing, and it's like kind of fundamental and like rudimentary now, but back when they first introduced them, it was like, oh my god, this is going to change the game, and it really hasn't, because they're still not using it correctly. It's helped, but yeah, I
mean, and this isn't even like a breaking the plane type of thing. This is I mean, that I think has gotten a little better, but sometimes still that ball, like especially short like goal line situations,
don't tell Des Bryant it's gotten better with the breaking the plane thing.
Well, I mean, when you've got a bunch of dudes laying on top of each other or blocking view, no amount of cameras probably is going to solve some of those situations.
Right.
So you go with the call that's on the field. But the NFL has a replay problem.
Yeah, they do.
I don't know if they could do some sort of radio frequency identification, like put a chip on the ball.
Yeah.
RFID chips are real small and they're flat. You can just toss one right there, put it under the leather even, and then have something happen where if it crosses the line, you get a big flashing red light, kind of like in hockey.
Like hockey, yeah. Yeah, I'm sure purists would argue that it would change the weight or the bounce of the ball or some weird crap like that, which is probably why they haven't done it yet.
Yeah, it's flimsy, and if it changes it that much, then those same purists should be arguing about the pressure of the ball every single game.
Don't get us started on ball pressure.
Oh dear.
It's early in the season to be talking about that crap.
I'm just saying that I think it's a reasonable solution. I think the pylon cams, as far as I can remember, they direct toward the goal line, right? So I'm saying you throw a 360 camera there, you're going to be able to see the sideline and the goal line.
Yeah.
And no reason why you can't just flip that around and look every which way to see if some part crossed the goal line or if somebody's out of bounds. So
yeah.
Should we talk about the games?
Yeah, let's talk
about some football games.
All right, so week 17 matchup number 1. The Packers are playing in Detroit against the Lions.
I'll go first. Packers is done. It's Lions. Lions got something to play for. Packers are just done. I don't see them.
The Lions are done. They blew their chance in Cincinnati last week. The Lions are done.
So they're both done.
So
let's just call this one a scratch and move on.
I'm going Lions.
Yeah, I'll go Lions.
This could be Caldwell's last game as a head coach. That would be interesting.
I wish it was McCarthy's last game as a head coach too. Both of those dipshits need to go away. Yeah. Moving on.
Moving on. Texans are playing against the Colts.
And both of these teams are eliminated as well.
Yeah. I think this is my garbage game of the day.
I feel like a lot of these are going to be garbage games of the week.
Yeah.
I feel like there might be one or two games that are just not garbage games, and those are automatically the games of the week, and the rest is just... We're in a weird situation. Week 17 is when all the teams that have done really well are going to bench all their starters, and they're going to roll out their backups, and all the teams that have already lost their playoffs just don't give a shit. So...
Yeah, and you've still got some teams like playing for seeding, and a couple still vying for playoff spots.
Right.
But yeah, it's kind of a weird week.
I'll go Texans.
Any reason?
No.
Okay.
No.
Yeah, I'm going home team because I have no idea. So I'm going Colts.
Okay. Yeah, Alex.
I think the Texans are done. I'm gonna go Colts also.
Okay.
I think this is a terrible game. This is I'm gonna go with Paige's garbage game.
Yeah, it's
Pretty
just
solid.
bad, really bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, and was it Yates that started for the Texans, right?
TJ Yates. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh dear. Okay, so
Enjoy it while it lasts, TJ Yates.
yeah, NFC battle number 2 this week. NFC North battle number 2. Bears are playing in that beautiful new stadium in St. Paul.
I want to go
against
to
the
there.
Vikings.
Yeah.
I know it's on my list. I'll go first.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going Vikings. Pretty obvious. They get the second seed if they get this win.
Yeah.
Which means a first round bye. So they're playing for a bye. So I think they're really going to pull out all the stops. As we said, a lot of teams don't have a lot to play for this week, either because they're out or they're already in. But the Vikings definitely have a lot to play for.
Yeah.
And they have a pretty easy opponent in the Bears, I think.
Yeah, Bears are a pretty easy opponent. I expect Jordan Howard to have a day because Jordan Howard typically has a day every week. Vikings have everything on the line. It's a super important game, and I think they're going to be just fired up, and they're going to come out, and they're going to clean house. Their own house.
Yeah, this is one of those matchups where you look at it and you're like, earlier in the season when I said this would have just been a wash, but where the Vikings just tear through them. But I think it'll be a better game than that, but I am going to pick the Vikings. I think that's a pretty obvious pick. They're able to score from wherever. Their offense is just insane.
Yeah.
They have a robust offense.
Yeah.
Wherever and whoever, they can just put somebody in and score, and they're just all over the place. And I think that versatility just means they're going to walk into the playoffs super happy. So.
Yeah, and they have more good quarterbacks on that one team than anybody else does in the entire league.
I'll give you Case Keenum.
The math checks out.
They have two really solid quarterbacks.
Who else has a decent quarterback that could start?
Nobody.
This is the year of the
did,
backup.
But they got rid of him, so wow. Yeah.
I mean, the Broncos have 3 high-profile quarterbacks, none of which are worth anything right now. So
we'll get to that in a moment.
we'll get there. All right, moving on from Bears and Vikings. Next up are the Jets at the Deflatriots.
Bringing up PSI again. Wow.
No.
I'm sensing a theme.
The Cheatriots? I don't know.
Cheatriots is a little...
Pats.
The Pats.
The Patriots.
Oh, speaking of Pats, that's my pick. The Patriots are going to win this game.
Yeah. This is going to be one of those situations where I feel like we're not going to see much of the starters. Who is the backup for the Patriots now? Backup quarterback?
Somebody I've never heard of, I don't think.
Okay.
Patriots.
It's irrelevant. I don't know, I think we're going to see maybe one quarter of Tom Brady.
Oh, is it Brian Hoyer?
Really? Hoyer the Destroyer is a Patriot?
Yeah. He's the backup.
Is it?
Isn't that... Didn't they do the... Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, after they... Yeah.
If the Patriots lose this game, it's
Jacoby
because
Brissett,
their backups couldn't figure it out. I've got more faith in them than that. I think the Patriots are still going to win. I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like the Patriots are going to win too, regardless. So
Yeah, I'm going Patriots. They're playing for top seed in the AFC, so
Yeah.
they have a little bit to play for.
Oh, they are still playing for the top seed.
Top seed, yeah.
All right, so we may still see some action from Brady then.
Yeah, they might put him in for like the first quarter or two.
Yeah, I still feel like the Jets are
If they
beatable
build
opponent,
up a
though.
substantial lead in the first half, they'll probably pull him.
This is a very fortuitous game for New England. Very fortuitous.
I keep kind of hoping that somebody gets injured. Not like career ending.
Damn.
Career ending. I just don't like the Patriots.
Fantasy's over. Jesus.
Oh, it has nothing to do with that.
Yeah, seriously.
You're just mean then. Wow.
I just don't like the Patriots.
Good lord.
Yeah, and Bill Belichick's home for wayward boys picked up former Pittsburgh Steeler James Harrison, who will probably get significantly more playing time as a Patriot than he did as a Steeler this year.
Dude, if those two teams square off in the... Well, they're going to end up squaring off in the
that's
AFC Championship game.
I'd be shocked.
Harrison is going to be out for blood.
Yeah, he was really unhappy with how little they played him.
Jesus, I'd be unhappy
But
too.
he's definitely aging and on the decline. I mean, I get it.
He's 39?
Yeah.
Is that right?
His workout regimen is freaking insane. If you guys don't follow him on like Instagram or Twitter, you should. Because he's one of the few NFL players I actually follow. Because his stuff is incredible.
Yeah, he's a madman.
Yeah. Still.
And he started doing powerlifting because of, I guess, like soft tissue issues.
Yep.
So now he's just
does,
like an
cupping.
animal.
I mean, like cupping and the where you go into like an like sub-zero,
Like suction cup thingies.
Yeah, cupping. Yeah, but then he also does like the freezer. Like you basically go into a freezer.
It's cryo.
The crypto. Yeah, not crypto. Sorry, cryo.
Crypto.
Yeah. Which sounds intriguing to me.
He goes into a room and does a lot of puzzles and archaeological digs and
Yeah.
He reenacts Star Wars where Han gets.
Yeah. All right, so we're all going Patriots.
Spoiler alert, by the way, Jesus.
If you haven't seen
If
that
you've
movie,
not
it's
seen
like 40
that.
years old.
That's why it's funny, guys. Alright, moving on.
All right.
You're wearing a Star Wars.
I am wearing a Star Wars
Yeah,
shirt.
you are. Very nice. The Redskins are playing in New York against the Giants.
Sleeve says,
Rebel.
what's upside?
Yeah. Turn your arms further, DT.
Rotator cuff torn. Worth it.
So who are you going with, Alex? Redskins or Giants?
I've got the Redskins. Yeah.
I have a
I think
feeling
they're
most of
the
this is going to be
clear
unanimous
pick.
this week.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're just gonna cement my loss. We'll just make it easy.
Yeah, we'll get to that. We'll get to that.
Yeah.
I'm going Redskins too. The Giants lost to Arizona last week. Damn you, Cardinals, for getting a pointless win. I think Cousins plays all right this week and we'll get a W. Yeah. We're all going Redskins.
I'm gonna go Redskins as well. Yeah. Do you guys think this is Eli's last game in Big Blue?
I don't know.
I feel like Eli
think so.
thinks it's his last game.
I think maybe Eli will retire.
Yeah.
If
he's
he
not
doesn't,
retire.
it won't be. But yeah, I don't think so. I think he maybe has.
I don't think
more.
they're going to trade him or dump him.
They won't trade him or dump him. If he's gonna stay, I don't think it will be. I think he maybe will play one more.
I feel like they're gonna mutually part ways. I don't think Eli's gonna be a Giant next season. I don't think so at all.
Well, that'll be interesting to watch in the off season. See what they do.
Yeah.
All right, moving on. This is mostly a meaningless game. The Cowboys are playing in Philly against the Eagles. So I was thinking about this game, and I was like, a game between the Cowboys and the Eagles this late in the season, it really should mean something, right? Like, it should mean something. It means nothing.
No.
It means nothing.
Yeah.
By which I'm really disappointed. I don't think it's unlikely, so I think it's likely. Sorry for the double negatives. I think it's likely that Philly rests their starters this week. So, if not right away, not too far into the game. So I'm actually going Cowboys because I think the Eagles they're just they're good with where they're at in the playoffs, and they've got nothing else to play for.
There's nothing to risk.
Yeah.
I would not be surprised if Foles plays the entire first half, just because he needs more time in the field to get warmed up for what's to come in the playoffs. But yeah, there's no reason to risk anybody, and that's why the Cowboys, I think, are going to take not a horribly convincing or explosive win, but a solid win over an opponent that's just going to be like, you can have this one, brah.
Yeah. And that's a good point about Foles, because I don't know that Foles, I mean, he didn't look playoff ready to me.
No, neither did that defense.
So
no.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the Eagles had a, kind of big blow. They kept panning over to Carson during that game last week, and I can't blame them because you can feel the absence of that quarterback. You can just, they were talking about, and I agree that he was up for potentially MVP offensive this year. And now it's just kind of heartbreaking to see. If I was an Eagles fan, I'd just be devastated to see Carson Wentz on the sideline. Paige, I think you hit on everything that I was going to say about this game. I picked the Cowboys as well, just because the Eagles, if they don't even if they don't sit all of their starters, I think eventually the game will kind of favor the Cowboys. I'd put them on an even keel right now with some other teams in the league that looked hot at certain points but don't really show any signs of anything incredible. And I would like the Raiders are one of those teams, and we saw what happened with the Eagles last week when they played against them. They barely won. So I'll go Cowboys.
Yeah.
Cool. DT's neighbor is vacuuming. Upstairs neighbor is vacuuming.
Yeah.
Can hear that.
Hopefully the music.
He should go to my house.
Hopefully the
so
music
this isn't
Go ahead.
Close Encounters.
No. So what's going on is my neighbor moved out the day before Christmas Eve, and I'm glad he's leaving. I don't even care if he hears me say that, but he just won't leave. So now he's upstairs, and
he's trying to get a security deposit back.
Yeah. So what's going on?
We've all been there.
Hopefully you guys aren't getting too much of this. I'm going to leave this in just in case you are, so there's an explanation. But the entire complex has wood floors and tile, and for some reason this moron is vacuuming. So hopefully you guys aren't hearing it. Hopefully the music will drown it out. Maybe I can kind of kick it down.
Yeah, and he's like using the
mix,
beater bar. Like it's not like it's not even like on the tile hardwood setting. No. He's like using the beater bar.
Yeah. So I'm sorry, guys.
Anyways,
let's move on.
People in there vacuuming. All right. This game, I don't know. Browns are playing in Pittsburgh against the Steelers.
Oh, I know.
I mean, we all know the Steelers are going to win this game. We're all going Steelers.
I want to see how the refs make this interesting. Yeah, you know what's going to happen. There's going to be some weird mix-up or some weird touchdown that's in contention. But no, I mean, it's going to be the Steelers, and the Browns are going to achieve that perfect season. Perfect season.
Yeah.
And like a unicorn.
Yeah, I mean, so even if Pittsburgh at this point is playing for seeding, they have a first round bye either way.
Yeah.
So even if Pittsburgh rests most of their starters, I don't really see how the Browns pull this off.
No.
But if there were a win that they could get,
no,
it would be against a weakened Steelers team. However, I still think if Landry Jones could beat the Cardinals.
That's the X factor right there.
Then, yeah, and they're not gonna. I don't think they'll keep Martavis and they'll throw Vance frickin' McDonald. You guys, he's a big man. Vacuuming is wacky.
I think he's literally right
he knows what
right
we're
now.
doing, and he's just like, F you guys.
Like, I've seen the second draft. It sucks. I'm gonna ruin it before I move.
But Vance McDonald, whew.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have much else to say except for the fact that the Steelers look like a couple of other few choice teams where they're actually throwing in backups, or they're alternating receivers, running backs who are, well, they're not really alternating running backs quite as much, but we saw Antonio Brown go down. Martavis Bryant stepped in. I lost in the championship last week because I was playing somebody who had Todd Gurley, go figure.
Oh, that happened to you too?
Yeah, it happened to
Stupid
both of us.
freaking
So
Tigers.
I lost in the
congrats
semis.
to you, Dom.
Yeah, Dom.
My buddy Dom took home the championship because Todd Gurley scored 40 points, and he did the same against DT. So, there's that. One person can carry you to a championship win.
Yeah.
That being said, I picked up Martavis Bryant, and, he did put up points. Him and Juju both last week put up good points.
Juju,
man.
So I don't see any reason that the Steelers don't go confidently into the playoffs.
Yeah.
And you guys touched on it earlier, AFC Championship. There we go.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
It's a foregone conclusion. And I think it has been for a very long time. So,
yeah.
Steelers across the board. Yeah.
I will say in our league where I performed very poorly this year, I still beat Jonathan in the last game, and he actually set his lineup. So that wasn't. It's a Pyrrhic victory, but
a victory nonetheless.
So I lost third place this week by 2 points because I played the Philly defense.
I bet you wish you'd had the Chargers.
I can't remember. Did I play the Philly defense or the Rams defense? Whatever it was, they shit the bed. My other defense did amazing on the bench. And I also am the highest scoring team in our league.
We need to do like trophies next year, like random trophies.
Yeah. We should
figure that out. Yeah.
We should. We'll do a video. We were talking before this
stuff.
about a video on like changing league rules, and maybe we can do another video on like extraneous kind of league fun things to do with your league.
Yeah. All right, so this will be our last game before halftime.
And then we're going to wait for this guy to stop vacuuming.
Oh, God. Who knows how long that'll take. All right, so this game, this is my game of the week. This is going to be a great game. Panthers are playing in Mercedes-Benz against the Falcons. Yeah. No, Chick-fil-A will not be open.
In case you were wondering.
FYI, they're still closed on Sundays.
So dumb.
I'm going to beat that drum until the cows come home.
Oh, I hate Chick-fil-A. Yeah.
So, I like Chick-fil-A. I just think it's stupid.
Are we all agreed that this is game of the week? Mm-hmm. It's my game. It's for sure my game of the week. Yeah.
Yeah.
By far the most meaningful game of the week. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll go first. Panthers already in the playoffs. Falcons need this win to be in the playoffs. So they've got a lot to play for. They're playing at home, so I think that might give them a bit of an edge. So I'm going Falcons.
I'm going to go Panthers and say they upset. Just because I like a little bit of drama in my football. Some legitimate drama, not some referee-engineered drama, which, sucks. I feel like the Panthers kind of closed the chapter of this book that is the season that is the Falcon. I don't know where I'm going with this. Falcon. I don't think the Falcons are going to stick it out. I feel like the Panthers are going to win, and I feel like the Falcons are going to be in a sad mood that night.
And what a weird season to, follow their Super Bowl season. So weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've shown moments of greatness, but nothing like last year. Nothing like that kind of just meteoric rise to the Super Bowl. And that unfortunate, did you see the Saints was it the Saints dancers?
Yeah.
Oh my
goodness.
Hilarious.
Yeah. Their band is awesome. I've seen them live, and they're fantastic. It was almost like being at a college game. It was really cool. So, what Doc's saying, if those of you didn't see it, what they did was the marching band came out, and they formed 28-3 to get in the minds of the Falcons during halftime. It was brilliant.
Yeah, and they did something, too, on the Jumbotron to, block out Atlanta fans.
That's awesome.
I read something about that.
Was it cops, or they picked out everybody wearing a
no, they put
jersey,
in fact,
blurred their faces out?
They
That's
did.
Awesome.
Where is it?
So while Paige is looking this up,
they used a Marta bus graphic to block out the Falcons on the Jumbotron.
A Marta bus graphic?
Yeah. So here, we'll tweet it or we'll put a link. But they used the mass transit for the city. They put
Wait, is that the same bus from when they imploded the Georgia Dome? And then that bus driver from the live feed from the Weather Channel stopped right in front of it and ruined the feed? That's awesome.
Yeah, hilarious.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Yeah, it was funny.
So why does the NFL have intelligent people working like Chiron and doing all these funny things? They have like the most stupid people actually refereeing the games.
Or owning teams.
Or owning teams, yeah.
Well, I've seen gloriously terrible Chiron from the NFL, so
it's always on
I can't say
ESPN though, or Fox.
Maybe it depends. Maybe it's like specific games. There's got to be 20 people working them, and there's 10 of them that are just rock solid, and the other 10 are like, why am I here?
All right, so
anyway,
who are you picking this week, Alex?
Yeah, you're split. This is going to be a really close game, but and you mentioned the Falcons have something to play for. I think the Panthers have something to play for as well, even though it might not seem like they do. Right now, there are less variables. They don't know what's going to happen a couple weeks from now in the playoffs.
Sure.
Right now, they know their team. They know who's healthy. They know who's not. And I think they might play up a little bit more, considering they're playing a more of a fierce rival. And I think they might be shooting to knock out the Falcons. They don't want to play them later on. This is a team that might gain some momentum in the playoffs. I think the Panthers will play up. I think they'll come out swinging, and I think they'll win this game.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm out of beer.
Yeah, we're gonna do halftime.
So we'll be back. You gonna do the thing? Do the thing? No, we're not vibrating with excitement for this next round of games. It's still my neighbor vacuuming the same spot of a hardwood floor over and over again. Thank you for sticking with us. We love you. Let's get into these next few games.
Yeah. All right, so next up, Bengals are playing in Baltimore against the Ravens.
Ravens.
Ravens. This is what they need to get into the playoffs.
Yeah.
So
They'll do it.
And Marvin Lewis is probably out after this game, so.
I feel like Marvin Lewis is the type of guy who would vacuum a hardwood floor for half an hour.
With a beater bar. Marvin Lewis is that guy.
The Bengals have pulled out random wins this season, and I don't think it's against teams that are as good as the Ravens, so that's why I just instantly jumped on that Ravens.
Yeah.
I don't think we need to really talk about this one. They've got a lot to play for, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Moving on. Bills are playing in Miami against the Dolphins.
I think this is a better game than most people think. I don't know about you guys. I'm curious to hear what you
Could
say.
be.
I do too. Especially after how the Dolphins played against the Patriots in Miami.
Exactly.
And this is a home game for the Dolphins.
I was going to bring up the Patriots. They lost that one. I want to call it my hot take. I'm going to pick the Dolphins. That's going to be my pick this week.
Okay.
I think the Bills look more consistent now in the back half of the season than they have earlier in the season, and I like that. I'm happy to see that. I'm hoping it kind of transfers to next season and we see something good out of the Bills. I'm going to pick the Dolphins. I'm not confident in that pick at all, though.
Mm-hmm.
Guy.
Did I already say Bills?
You just did. You're going Bills.
Yeah, they got more to play for. Dolphins suck. Bills still have a shot. It's gonna be the Bills.
Yeah. So I'm going Bills too. I wouldn't be shocked if the Dolphins pulled out a win here. I think that'd be very Dolphins-like.
Mm-hmm.
But the Bills, the Bills are playing for the playoffs, and the Dolphins are playing for a shred of dignity. So we'll see which one wins.
Mm-hmm.
Next up, this could be an interesting game. The Saints are playing in Tampa against the Buccaneers. And I'll go first. The reason I say that this could be an interesting game is I'm picking the Saints, but I think it could be interesting because the BUCS have kind of turned up the heat the last couple weeks.
Yeah.
And Jameis is playing well. So I think the Saints win, but it could be closer than everyone is thinking it's going to be. Or it could be a blowout. I don't know. But I think it's going to be a closer game than what the odds are predicting. So I'm going Saints. And as a side note, Drew Brees is a member of the 70,000 Yards Club.
He is now, yeah.
Yep. 1 of 3. Well done, Drew.
Yeah. I'm going to go Saints as well. I'm stealing Paige's notes. The Saints can win the NFC South with a W. That's enough of a reason for me to take the Saints. They're playing for so much more than the Buccaneers are, and they're just a better team. Like you said, the Bucs have shown some fire. That's a smoldering little fire compared to the inferno that is the Saints offense right now.
Oh, for sure.
This is going to be a blowout game. This is going to be a decisive win for the Saints, and they're going to march right into the playoffs with their heads held high. It's going to be, if you're a New Orleans fan, this is going to be a great game.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but aren't they playing for home field wild card right now?
Oh, are they really? Yeah. Wow. Yeah,
so I'm pretty sure the Saints. I mean, my pick is the Saints. I have not liked the Buccaneers this entire season. You're right that they've been picking up some heat as the season goes on, especially in the back half. The Saints are going to win this game. They have something to play for. They have all of the talent. The Saints are going to win.
Yeah, they're by far the superior team.
Yeah.
Next up, Jaguars are playing in Tennessee against the Titans.
So just Jaguars, everybody?
Jaguars. Yeah.
Yeah.
The Titans are playing for 6th seed in the AFC, though. And the Jags are locked in at 3rd.
The Titans had a good showing last week, but I'm still going to pick the Jaguars.
Yeah, I mean, the Titans blew out the Jaguars earlier this year, but that's not going to happen.
Mm-hmm. So Calais Campbell for Defensive Player of the Year, yeah? Everybody? Are we all in agreement? Yeah.
He's just a monster.
This podcast has had a habit of predicting some pretty off-the-wall shit this season, and I feel like this is a good one that we should end on. Not the podcast, but our predictions.
I don't know, like Lattimore? I don't know.
Lattimore's been really good, but Calais Campbell has been an absolute monster.
He's a monster. He's a sack monster.
Ugh. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Unanimous. All right. So, next up, Chiefs Broncos playing in Denver.
Let's just all say Chiefs and move on.
Is Alex predicting a Broncos win?
I'm not, but I'm tempted. I think the Chiefs are one of the teams that are going to sit all of their starters. I think that if I was a betting man and I was going to go make some bets, I would consider this as one of those kind of hot take picks for the Broncos to come out of nowhere and just they're not going to. The Chiefs are absolutely going to win this game, even with their second string players. The Broncos just do not have it together.
Right. Here's the thing too: is Jamal Charles is pissed. He's saying the team should just release him if they're not going to play him. And what's going to be happening this weekend is John Elway is treating this game because the season is a wash for Denver. They're treating this game like a preseason game. So if Paxton Lynch is going to be starting, their rookie running back is going to be starting. All they're going to be doing is using this last game to evaluate players basically and see who's going to make the cut and who's not. It's not going to be. I mean, even if it's the case where the Chiefs do the same thing and they bench all their starters, I feel a little bit more confident in the Chiefs backups than I do the Broncos backups at this point. So Chiefs, there's just no two ways about it. I feel like.
It's funny you mentioned Jamal Charles. My dad and I were talking about him this weekend. You know, I went and visited in Denver for the holidays, and he picked Denver running backs out of the gate because the defense looked so good coming into the season, and Jamal Charles was there, and they had some heat behind them, and they were going to do something. Jamal Charles,
games,
filling in this gap that was much needed. I mean, I think CJ is an underrated running back. I think he's really great. But yeah, Jamal Charles, I could understand why he'd be furious.
Yeah. I had a really good friend of mine who's a massive Broncos fan come to me and she was really pissed about what Jamal Charles said. And I told her, like, First of all, no player ever wants to be told that a game is meaningless. Every game matters. Second of all, the dude he's at the tail end of his career. He wants those yards. He wants to play. If he's not going to be in Denver next season, he wants to put together some game tape for himself for next season if he wants to continue playing. He's at a point where it's just not a smart move for him personally to be sitting and not be playing, regardless of what the team situation is. So was it in poor taste for him to go out and say those things? Sure, you shouldn't ever say those things publicly in front of a press or a press junket or whatever. But at the same time, I feel like he's definitely justified in saying those things because that's what the man does for a living. If somebody came into my office or came into this room right now and said, you know what, things aren't going so good with the podcast, you guys we're just going to run some dead air for an hour, we'd all be pissed. So yeah, I think Jamal Charles... Yeah. The way he said it was probably not the best way to say it, but I think he's absolutely right. But
and I don't think that's something the front office hasn't heard from him before, honestly.
Sure.
And agents are pretty vocal to front offices about this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't think anybody has a right to be pissed at Jamal Charles. He's being wasted.
Yeah,
and the guy's still really talented. So he wants to play for something. Like, yeah, for fun, but he wants to actually play for something valid and like winning and going to the playoffs, and that's not happening in Denver. So
he's been injured before, but he's not like a RG3 or something like that where he's just it's obvious that he's going to get injured again,
Right.
Carson Palmer. he's definitely somebody that could bounce back and make a resurgence and show up somewhere. So I don't know where he's going to go, but he definitely has the ability to go somewhere else.
Yeah.
Or if they just play him in Denver. Damn. Please play him in Denver.
I think he's going to go somewhere else. And yeah, it's going to be an unfortunate situation for him to be sitting against his former team and just having to watch. It's going to be sad.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Yeah, I'm going Chiefs too. The Chiefs already have the 4th seed in the AFC, so if they lose this game, they're not losing anything really anyways.
Right.
But I'm still going Chiefs.
Yeah.
I think they're the better team. Next up, the Raiders are playing in LA against the Chargers.
It's a pretty good game.
You like the Raiders.
Yeah, I think it could be an interesting game.
These are my 2 favorite teams. God, I don't even know.
I know at home in your closet you've got a split Raiders Chargers jersey. I know you do. Yeah.
Yeah, nightmare. If I end up losing these picks, that would be the nightmares of split Raiders Chargers jersey. I know that
with just your name on the back.
Oh
yeah,
no!
Just a little. No, you're gonna. I'm losing. I'm for sure gonna lose. I'm pretty sure.
This is a bad. It's
a shit game, guys.
Yeah, it's not good. I earlier said that the Raiders to me are on an even keel with the Cowboys, and the Jaguars have been looking terrible. I think recently, especially like Bortles looks good and bad and good and bad and like great and bad and great and terrible.
He's like the Tyreek Hill of quarterbacks.
Yeah, or T.Y. Hilton. Yeah, he's bad. He's terrible.
I blame the Tyreek thing on the offensive play calling.
Yeah.
All right, sure. Yeah, I'll give you that. But I don't even know what to say about this game. Phillip Rivers has been better than anybody expected this year. Chargers beat the Jets last week. The Raiders, I think, put up a good showing against the Eagles. That was impressive. I have no idea. Split. I don't want to pick either of these teams. I'm going to pick the Raiders. This sucks.
All right. Lone wolf pick.
Yeah, because I'm going Chargers.
Yeah, I'm going Chargers as well.
The Chargers need the win.
Mm-hmm.
The Raiders are on a short week and on consecutive road games. And they're playing for zilch.
Yeah.
I think Rivers has a decent day and gets in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I squeezed my pick in right when you said your pick because there's nothing else left to say here, but I want to leave the icon up there so people can view it so we don't take it away really quickly. I'm just filling up time for that now. Let's move on.
Okay. Next up, second to last game of the week. The Niners are playing in LA against the Rams.
I'll go first.
Okay.
This is my wild pick. I think the Niners are going to take it. I think this is a situation where the Rams are going to be resting a lot of their starters, and if they're smart, they're going to rest Gurley too, because they're going to need him fresh for the playoffs. Because you don't want to risk anything happening to Gurley in a divisional game right now, right before the playoffs start. I think this opens the window for another Garoppolo win, and I think he'll capitalize on it. It's going to be a soft matchup. So Rams fans, are they playing in LA or are they playing in Santa Clara?
No, they're playing in LA.
Yeah, Rams fans, not that you're buying tickets for these games anyway, but don't waste your money because you're not going to see anything exciting, and you're probably going to see your team lose because they're going to be resting all their starters. So, yeah, Niners. That's my pick.
Alex?
Paige? Oh.
You want me to flip a coin?
I'll go first. Oh.
Okay. Go. You go. Ladies first.
So, I did kick around the Niners thing.
Mm-hmm.
They're on a 4-win streak, and Jimmy Garoppolo, you brilliant man, 4-win streak, undefeated as a starter. Somebody's gonna break that at some point, and I think this is that week. I'm going Rams, but I will say about the Niners, the rebuild is already starting to pay off a little bit.
Yeah.
And that is wonderful news for all the Niners fans out there. And it's going to be, I think it's going to be at least another season or two before they make like a really deep playoff run. But if they made it to early playoffs next year on a wild card, I would not be surprised.
Sure. I think next season's going to be exciting for San Francisco.
I do too. I think the Niners are going to make the Rams work for this. But I think the Rams will win. Okay. Side note, I think that we need to have a discussion, or not we as in the three of us, but just as football fans in general, about Todd Gurley being an MVP, like a very serious MVP candidate.
Yeah, absolutely.
Guy is,
yeah,
he's tearing it up. Not just in fantasy, like he's
in life.
Yeah.
Seems like a really good kid too. He's very, very affable.
Look at what happens when Jeff Fisher is no longer your coach.
Well, there's an argument I read this week that said that Jeff Fisher being so terrible, he helped that team build up with good draft picks and shit into the team.
Yeah, he says that he takes ownership for like the progress of those players. That's bullshit.
What an asshole.
Because if you were that's front office.
That's so funny to me. Like he's going to take credit for the being so terrible for so long until they amassed a good roster of players that now they're good, and he's like, I did that, but being
that was me.
That's the front. That's the front office. That's the GM, yeah. And then you put Sean McVay in there, and he actually knows how to coach football.
Yeah.
At a professional level. So
yeah,
exactly.
Ooh, another one where I'm throwing the split pick. Yeah, this is, I think, the quintessential example of your rock-solid team is going to bench their starters.
Yeah.
49ers have had nothing to play for, really, and they've been on this rise. So I'm going to go Niners also.
All right, yeah.
They were split. I was split with this game. I think the Rams, obviously, overall, better team.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it'll be a close game. I guess that's my contingency. But the Niners, I think, have... because they have had something to play for, they still have something to play for in this game.
Right.
And they'll win.
Right. Yeah.
Cool.
So, last game of the week.
Last game of the regular season.
And what a game.
Cardinals are playing in Seattle against the Seahawks.
I'd be totally fine if my neighbors started vacuuming again right now. We're just waxing the floor. Or literally just breakdancing. Just jumping up and down and doing cannonballs right over our heads. That's how much I care about this game. Paige, you go first.
Okay. This is almost like a Carolina Atlanta situation in that the Seahawks get the 6th seed if they win, just like Carolina and the Falcons. So if the Falcons win, they get the 6th seed.
Yeah.
The Arizona's defense has finally been playing good football.
Buda Baker. Rookie season.
Buda freaking Baker.
Voted into the Pro Bowl. Congrats to you, sir.
Yeah. He had a slow start to the season, and then he locked down those mistakes, he put in the practice time, and he put in the time. And I was thrilled. We watched the draft last year together, and I was thrilled when we took Buda Baker. I was like hoping for Buda Baker. I'm a huge Buda Baker fan.
Yeah,
because I also watch Pac-12 football, and I love watching him play. Yeah. And so it's really fun to see him start to blossom a little bit. So imagine. Yeah. What he can do in the next couple of years.
He's not somebody who's like Tyrann Mathieu, who, you know, immediately when he came onto the team was not only good but also a big personality and had that flair, like the hair and the tattoos and whatnot. I feel like Buda Baker could have been his biggest star, but he's so humble and so subdued that he's kind of been like the sleeper star of the team this season. I feel like, honestly, we've talked about this before. I feel like the team could move Tyrann Mathieu for some decent draft picks and fill that slot with Buda Baker and not miss a beat.
Yeah, I agree.
I feel like Buda Baker's that good.
He's quick.
But Matthew's been such a story in Arizona, so I don't know.
I'm kind of over the story thing with players.
Most hardcore fans are, but I think those hundreds of thousands it's probably just thousands of folks that have their Matthew jersey are going to be pretty bummed to see him move on. So
I've got a Matthew jersey. I've got his autograph on my wall right there. I love the kid, but I also want to see the Cardinals win a Super Bowl before I die.
Fair enough.
I mean, somebody somewhere, I can't remember what it was, talked about the fact that with rooting for pro teams, you're basically rooting for a t-shirt because the roster's constantly changing and whatnot. And it has a lot to do with, you know, the identity of your city and the sense of community and rallying and whatnot. But it is kind of a weird thing to become attached to these types of players and be like, yeah, I'd be okay if that guy kind of went somewhere else.
Yeah, especially safeties.
Yeah.
I mean, that's...
Well, I think that's the reason that, you know, the three of us, like Paige with the Steelers or me and TT with the Saints, or just like random teams crop up that we really want to follow and that we really are interested in this season. That's why we love the sport, and so we rally behind the team that has a lot of heat, but has a lot of like good story behind them, and they've got something going on this season. And we want to see them do good, you know. Yeah. And I think that says a lot about the sport in general. I think it says a lot about the fandom in general. But you know, we've got to have we have to have a banner to rally behind. You know, we've got to have a reason to be disappointed and a reason to be triumphant. So,
well, the Cardinals are always my reason to be disappointed.
Sure.
But with the Saints thing, like what I find so dynamic, like why I love watching the Saints play football is the way they use two running backs.
Yes.
Like that running back set, just like it gives me chills. You guys, literally, it gives me chills. And that's like watching Antonio Brown haul in a touchdown for the Steelers. Like there's nothing like it. The guy's dynamic. He's got a personality. Like he doesn't have some like really incredible story like Tyrann Mathieu does, where he was screwing up his life and LSU was over, and then Bruce Arians home for wayward boys. But it's just I like it because I like watching the fun football.
Sure.
Yeah.
So if the Saints make it deep into the playoffs, or hopefully to the Super Bowl, that would be fantastic to see. Yeah. I don't think they're a Super Bowl ready team right now, but maybe they can pull something together in the playoffs. We've seen weirder things happen.
Steelers Saints.
Just black and gold.
That would be
that would be beautiful.
That would be cool.
But the Patriots.
If that happened, Saints, there's gonna be some Earth, Wind, and Fire. I talked about it earlier in the season. There's gonna be some Earth, Wind, and Fire nickname that somebody comes up. Maybe we can come up with it for those three. No, I think it requires some thought, and I don't know if I can do it off the top of my head. I don't believe in myself. Well, I believe in myself to come up with it. Nothing's coming up. Let's move on. But the Saints, I think they're just such a vibrant team. What gets me is not the dual running back situation. It's when the Saints are on defense and they cut to Drew Brees and he's on the sideline with his head in his hands and he's like staring at some playbook and he's looking at the last series, and he's trying to figure out what didn't work and what did work. And I know plenty of NFL quarterbacks do that, but they're just kind of doing their cursory glance. They're saying
good for the
it's
camera.
his religion.
And it's and Drew Brees, you can tell, and DT texted me earlier, you could tell that Drew Brees cares so much because he botched a fourth quarter pass like 2 weeks ago, and it didn't really matter, but it mattered, and he was furious with himself. He was so pissed because he knew that he was the one that messed it up. And that's the thing that makes me want to watch the Saints.
Yeah, it's a very different situation. I've seen it up close. I've talked enough about being in New Orleans this year, but it was an amazing experience. But you watch Drew Brees, and it's not a situation like Tom Brady where there's a 3-and-out and Tom Brady's screaming at his offensive coordinator. Drew Brees very quietly walks up the sideline. He's pissed off. He throws his Gatorade bottle. He sits down and he looks at the playbook. He punishes himself, not the people around him, if something doesn't go right. And that's a true leader right there. So he absorbs it. He takes the blame, and he doesn't project that. Even outwardly, he holds it in. Like, he punishes himself when things don't go right. That's incredible to me. So, and he's somebody who is so good and has been so good for so long. He could be a guy who's got an ego. He could be an asshole and people still love him, but he's still incredibly humble. He's still. I think we talked before. No, I think we chatted via our group text about players who have ingrained themselves into the cities they live in and they play in. I couldn't think of anybody besides maybe Larry Fitzgerald who does it for the Cardinals. Gronkowski's kind of done it with Boston at kind of like a superficial level.
Roethlisberger actually
Favre.
has done it very deeply.
Sure.
Yeah,
Favre, yeah.
very deeply in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
I
But
mean,
the thing about New Orleans is, like, Drew Brees owns a house in New Orleans. He doesn't rent. He owns a house. He said if he ever stops playing, when he stops playing, he's going to live in New Orleans. He owns a sports bar. He owns businesses there.
Yeah, he's put down roots.
Zach Streif, who's been missing the season due to injury, he owns an incredible brewery in New Orleans called Port Orleans, and it's amazing. If you've got the ability to go and check it out, I hope to God at some point they have mass distribution because the beer was just incredible. But that's the thing about the Saints is they've got so much heart and they're so ingrained and so built into that city now. It's become a full-on part of that city's identity. And you just want to see them succeed. And it's incredible. I hope they get in the playoffs. I'd love to see them go to the Super Bowl.
That'd be fun.
So enough of
The
that
Saints
tangent.
Vikings Super Bowl. I could get behind that.
Ooh, that'd be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shit. So we actually have to talk about the Cardinals Seahawks game.
I forgot we hadn't already done that yet.
Stanton's under. I'm going Seahawks.
I'm going Seahawks too. You can talk about it and then I'll talk about it.
I have nothing to say. I'm going Seahawks. That's it.
This is such a weird game because
The Cardinals could win for no reason.
Yeah, I mean the Seahawks are playing for seeding. They're playing for the playoffs. This is basically their weird wild card game.
Yeah.
Well, I mean they would go on to the wild
They'll
card
get
after
6,
this.
yeah.
So they're playing for something. Cardinals are playing for nothing. Cardinals
Better
are still
draft
probably
pick.
well. They would be not playing for a better draft pick. I was almost torn thinking the Cardinals were going to come out and try and be the upset just to do it.
They could do it accidentally.
I hope they don't.
Probably will. It'll probably come down to field goals like it always does, and we might actually win by 1 field goal because somehow, some way, we'll just stick it out.
Or a tie. A tie would be so exciting.
That would be
A field goal game
horrible.
tie.
Like a Cardinals Seahawks game we've seen before.
I feel like it. Oh, wait.
Oh,
Last
wait,
year.
has this
It
was
happened.
I'm gonna go Seahawks.
So-
They get more to play for. I feel like even with all the injuries and whatnot, they've probably still got more heart. There's a lot of weird question marks around the Cardinals after the season ends.
There's question marks in that. Just those two teams. Who knows?
So
Let's-
I don't know. I would not be surprised if somehow, some way, some stupid way, the Cardinals play the upset and then knock the Seahawks out. But I feel like the Seahawks are gonna win, and they're gonna be one and done in the playoffs because that team is just decimated.
Yep, they're wrecked.
But yeah, Seahawks.
So let's end on a happier note because
Yeah,
for whatever
please.
reason we always end up talking about the Cardinals. What do you guys have?
Wait, give us your
AFC
pick first.
Yeah, let's.
Are you on Seahawks?
I thought I did. Yeah, I'm going Seahawks.
What we
AFC,
got on our
NFC.
tangent,
separate AFC NFC championship games, who do you have? Who do you want to see? Not so much who do you have, but who do you want to see there?
Who do I want to see?
Okay, so the Eagles have already secured the bye, right?
I'll tell you mine first. I'll just to kick it off. AFC Championship. I think we've got Steelers Pittsburgh. Wow. Steelers Patriots. Pittsburgh New England, and then I think in the NFC, I think we've got Vikings, and I want to say the Saints. I hope that's
be beautiful. Yeah.
It's my hope for this playoff.
That's the brightest timeline. Yeah.
It would be awesome. It would be so good to see those.
Yeah, that would be phenomenal. That would be the type of setup that would just make a lot of the bullshit that happened this season worth it. Just to see those four teams all going at it. Yeah, that'd be incredible. Your picks are exactly my picks. I love the Vikings. I love the Saints. I'm not a massive fan of the Steelers or the Patriots, but it's a foregone conclusion for the AFC because they're literally the only teams that are there. They're kind of like the Celtics and the Cavaliers of the Eastern Conference at this point. Like, nobody can compete with them. But the AFC, being as fun and exciting as it is, I feel like the most exciting and fun game that could happen would be the Vikings and the Saints, by far. So, sorry, Eagles. But it's not going to happen with Foles. And I don't hate Foles. I think Foles, if he had more time under center, if he was in a team that had a better system that was built for him, he could be great. You hate him because he was from U of A, but he was a good quarterback in U of A, and he had that
a fine quarterback.
He had that really good first season with the Eagles. He's not a bad quarterback. He's just had a really shit go of it. So I would take him in Arizona. I've said that before. I would take him in Arizona. I'm sure as hell take him over Palmer, Stanton, or who's the other guy we've got?
That other guy.
That one guy.
That one guy.
Yeah.
The joke.
So the whole thing is a joke.
I swear to God, if we have Bill O'Brien as our head coach and Blaine Gabbert as our quarterback, I'm done.
So I text DT Sunday, I think. Yeah. Monday or Sunday, I guess group text about Bill O'Brien potentially, like, there are murmurs that Bill O'Brien's gonna get let go and that he's like at the top of the list for the Cardinals. Number one, why would the Texans fire Bill O'Brien? Bill O'Brien is not the problem.
He's not great.
They were doing well until Deshaun got injured.
Sure.
So, and then they've got nothing left. I think more of their problems are front office than they are head coach.
I agree.
But I don't think Bill O'Brien's I want
Patricia.
I want like a map. I dig defensive minded coaches. So, but I'd be like, give me like a Sean McVay, like a Sean McVay type head coach.
Who is that in the league, though? I don't feel like there's anybody.
There isn't. They'd have to pull from college.
They'd have to pull, yeah.
Yeah, which I don't think is a bad idea.
Maybe we can get
because
John
I think
Gruden.
a lot of times those guys, when guys come from college to start coaching in the NFL, head coach positions,
No.
I think a lot of times they bring some more, like, because college is different, but they understand the game on a deeper level than like the players do when they're coming from college to the pros. So I think they could bring some fresh new ideas and kind of shake it up, and I think that's what the Cardinals need. But for AFC is obviously going to be Pittsburgh and St. Louis.
Yeah.
Or St. Louis.
They could just pull Herm Edwards.
Dude, take him. Take him. Take him.
Herm Edwards. I saw what happened with the Jets. No.
Freaking Edwards and the Chiefs.
No.
And those situations, though, it is kind of difficult to figure out whether it's like front office. I don't know. I think he's a terrible choice for college. Okay, so
you tried, but there's no happy note.
It devolved. I'm going with I'll answer the question.
Okay.
I'd be thrilled to see like a Vikings-Rams situation in the NFC Championship.
Yeah, I feel like the Rams are ultimately going to be the team that ends up in the Super Bowl.
I don't think I honestly, I don't know. I don't know. They have some defensive holes that they have to fill. But as far as more complete teams, I think I mean, we said it before. Both these guys said it. I think a Vikings Saints
Just be so much fun.
or NFC championship game would just be a complete blast.
I
would love that.
Yeah, two incredibly likable teams.
Yeah, two teams you can't hate.
Yeah, you don't feel guilty rooting for.
I'm going
over
NFC
the other.
North if that happens.
I'm going Saints Vikings. So hard. Yeah.
I'm in love with Case Keenum.
I'm in love with Mark Ingram.
Case, come to Arizona.
Mark Ingram, come to my house. Have a beer with me. I will buy all the beers.
We would buy all the beers.
I would for sure go Saints in that situation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not as like my pick to win. I would be full on in Saints mode. Like, let's go.
Or whatever.
Who dat?
Who dat?
Yeah, who dat?
Who dat? Who dat? Who dat think they're gonna beat them Saints?
Yeah, and the Bengals. Stop trying to steal that crap.
Yeah, the who dem or what do they say?
Yeah, it's who day.
Who day? No, that's
dumb. Pick something else.
That's like the Cardinals taking the Rise Up Red Sea when the Falcons already had the Rise Up thing. That's just lazy.
I like the B Red C Red. Like, that works.
So they just really what they need to do is they need to hire us as their marketing team, and then we'll just destroy.
Mm-hmm. Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. Oh my God, you guys! It's week 17.
We're gonna be back for a wild card in the playoffs.
Yeah,
we will. We'll be back.
We'll do random. We'll do.
And this isn't the end.
Random. No, we're just getting started.
Let's end this on a happy. Let's find out
an actual happy note
by saying that the original plan for the second draft, and we did this early on, was to talk about movies and beer and alcohol and sports on top of that. And with the football season ending, which due to scheduling and due to a bunch of different things, kind of took precedence over everything else.
Yeah.
The full-on plan for me, at least, hopefully you guys are on board, is to do more of the movies and more of the video games. We just got a capture box and a portable hard drive so we can do like game reviews. And Alex, if you want to get Madden, we can do some ridiculous
I have
Madden games.
I have it.
Yeah. Do you really? Yeah.
Yeah, but I have a PS4 and you have an Xbox.
I have a PS4.
Wait.
I have both.
DT will be the bridge between us because I've got the Xbox and you've got the PS4. I also got a camera, so we'll start recording some fun stuff.
Yeah. So the happy note the happy note is in 2018 I think we full on plan on exploding this thing. We are incredibly happy and so incredibly fortunate and thankful for the 50 subscribers we've got. But it feels like all the YouTube channels I follow, I feel like 50 is like that threshold between like, oh, we're just doing some stuff to like, boom. And I feel like 2018 is going to be our boom. And I'm fully committed to that.
Please share with your friends who like football or like looking at people saying.
There's no beer in this.
Yeah.
I do have whiskey though.
There you go. What? But I'll announce it on our podcast. I actually am going to be starting not a video podcast like we've been doing, but my own podcast. It'll be on iTunes and Stitcher, called Neatly on the Rocks. And I will be talking about whiskey and sports and politics and whatever. I'm going to be doing like interviews and like sipping through a new dram and talking about it and talking about whatever is kind of under my craw that day or like what I'm interested in, which is lots of things. So first episode should release January 1. But I think we'll kind of like, we might do some crossover stuff. I don't know.
Absolutely do crossovers.
Yeah.
Sure.
But we really appreciate you guys. This has been a total blast, like highlight of my week.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, and definitely send in questions because with the playoffs coming in, things are getting a little bit more weighted. All bets are on now, and we've got some insights for you. We've got some thoughts. They're not always going to be the correct thoughts, but they are going to be well informed. You can trust on that. You're well informed. They're going to be heartfelt. They're going to be
mildly inebriated,
but all of that together makes for a very I think inebriated experience. Sure, it makes but it makes for a well educated guess. I think in the end.
Yeah.
That being said, we also just want to create a community. So throw in your comments and start a conversation, and we're happy to jump in.
Yeah.
You could even go on YouTube and say, you guys are full of shit. You're stupid and I hate
fun.
you. And I will respond to that and say, okay.
Yeah. I mean, we
Why
got
do
that
you
from
think those things?
our Bills fan who was
Now
You
our
know?
friend.
and now
Who
our
is
friend.
now our friend.
Our friend.
Yeah.
Our friend J Rum. I love
Yeah.
that guy. Oh.
J-Rob.
Me too. Yeah. I've been looking back. I mean, it's like New Year's. Pretty close. It's like right around the corner. 2018 is upon us.
Yeah.
I'm really grateful for you guys. And just for football in general, and for all of you who've been watching. Thank you guys for an awesome 2017. I think 2018 will be even better. Plus, I'm going to Scotland in 49 days. I will be drinking at Lagavulin. So if you have questions you want me to ask the distiller, because I'm doing a special tour, I get to fill my own bottle from a cask.
I have
it's
a
gonna be
question.
super exciting.
We're insanely jealous.
I'm wearing Ron Swanson gear specifically for this. I am buying Ron Swanson hat and jacket so I
you're
can
gonna
do like
the-
a picture.
You can do the
yes,
tiki cap?
yes,
Yeah, that's
yes,
fucking
yes.
awesome.
Already in the works. So
Yeah.
yeah, but
So my question is, how much money should I give you for souvenirs to bring me back?
I mean, however much money you want to give me to bring stuff back.
There's a Lagavulin.
Lagavulin is like the promised
You're gonna
land.
want.
Like I would kill to go there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm excited. So if you guys have suggestions, if any of you have been
I have a
to
suggestion.
Scotland and we're going to we're spending a couple days in Glasgow, a little bit of time in London. We're gonna go see the Tottenham Arsenal game, Spur Arsenal game. I'm a Spurs fan, so Spur fan.
You know, the thing about Arsenal is they think they can just walk it in.
Yeah. Well, Tottenham's taken a dive this year. I don't know what's going on. So, and then we'll be on the Isle of Isla for like 4 days. So, suggestions, comments, like things you want me to ask distillers. We'll be going to most of the distilleries on the island. So,
It's awesome.
yeah.
You can, at the moment, send them into the 2NDDRAFT on Twitter. That is our handle.
Or just
the
here
second
on
draft.
YouTube, too.
Yeah, or on YouTube, or comment on the article on our website.
So the website is actually, I'm glad you brought that up because it's a work in progress. We've had some issues. We had some forums. I wasn't particularly happy with the forums. So what's going to happen is it's going to be replaced with Vanilla, which I think is going to be far
I
superior.
have no idea what that is.
It's a
Other than
platform.
a thing I put in baked goods.
Right. So it's a company that makes these really good forums.
Nice.
We had PHP BB2. I was not a fan at all. It was very susceptible to, I don't want to, slander against PHP BB. They do fine work, but it was a massive pain in the ass trying to keep up with like spammers and hackers and whatnot. But I feel like things are going to get better. So the forums are going to come back. So hopefully you guys will join us in the forums because I'm a big forum guy. I know they're kind of going by the wayside with
Same.
Facebook and Reddit kind of taking over, but I feel like forums is still the best way to have like a full-fledged, honest conversation with people. Yeah, so there's good things in store for at least the three of us in 2018.
Yeah.
We would love for you guys to join us because I think it's going to be great.
Yeah.
So,
All right. Well, next time we record, it will be 2018. You guys have a blessed and safe New Year's. Uber, Lyft,
do
all
all
those
that
things.
stuff. Yeah.
$100 cab ride's way cheaper than a DUI.
Nothing.
And
sadder
there's
than
lots
having
of-
50 subscribers and most of them being dead.
Yeah, please.
So
There's lots of programs that happen around the new year where Uber and Lyft will give you some free rides. So keep an eye out for those, and join us again next week while we crack up another one.
Yeah. Thanks, guys.
love you guys. Are you going to do this thing?
Do you guys want to hear a Cardinals joke? Carson Palmer.